Super Mario Maker 2! Peach lied to us, but she's Princess Peach. Hello everyone, let's start! It's me, Mario!
My favorite parts of Mario Maker 2's story mode is figuring out which character from the Marioverse delivers each particular level. A certain mage is undoubtedly Kamek, name withheld by request is Bowser Jr. based on how each level's described, and father of name withheld then is obviously Bowser himself. And with these sorts of little Easter eggs come some pretty crazy realizations, like the fact that
Wait, I want to see what you mentioned.
and father of name withheld then is
Name withheld.
obviously Bowser himself. And with these sorts of little Easter eggs come some pretty crazy
Mistakes. Mario's life is an endless trail with no escape, controlled by his love for one and millions of strangers. Yeah.
realizations, like the fact that half of Bowser Jr.'s weekly allowance is 200 gold coins. He's getting 400 gold coins every week. That is 4 one-ups worthy. That's 2 different basic outfits from Mario Odyssey. That is the cost of the entire first floor of one of the wings of Peach's entire castle here in Mario Maker, which just goes and makes me wonder, how much is that 400 coins gonna be worth? How much is Peach's castle worth in this game? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I did the math, and the answer isn't what you'd expect.
Oh, interesting. He keeps us baiting us, and I'm being baited. Interesting. Very interesting.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory.
Let's go. I'm very interested. Why do you say that the Princess Peach castle is a lie?
The show that, much like Bowser, just won't leave the Mushroom Kingdom alone. Speaking of Bowser, I'd like to extend a long overdue welcome to Doug Bowser, the new president of Nintendo of America, taking the place of my body is ready himself, Reggie Fils-Aimé. Reggie left some big shoes to fill, in more ways than one considering the guy's 6'1". But Doug, you, my friend, are
It's around my height.
proof to the power of nominative determinism. The term nominative determinism
Nominative determinism.
is the theory that says that your name biases you into certain career paths. Like, say for instance, your name is Seymour Butts, and you wind up as a proctologist. Or, surprisingly, how men named Dennis are actually more likely to become dentists. True story. Now, the scientific evidence is a bit spotty, and recent research seems to be overturning a lot of these early findings. That being said, a man named Bowser going on to be in charge at Nintendo? What are the odds of that? It's insane! Guy's a super villain, isn't he? It's gotta be. He's gonna take over the company. Drive it into the ground, and he'll be like, "Ha-ha, Mario! I've beaten you this." I don't know why I gave Bowser a Mario voice.
Aha, Mario! I'm just saying, haha, Mario.
I've defeated you by finally taking over your company. It's not even a Mario voice, it's just garbage voice. Everyone behind the camera is like just shaking their head in shame. I'm embarrassed to be here. Let's move on with the episode, please. Anyway, the long and short is that Mario Maker 2 is out now, and I've been having a ton of fun with it. If you've got a level that you think I should play, scroll down to the comments section and leave the code right there. Chances are, I'm gonna be playing it on GT Live. But, in a pleasant surprise, the game also shipped with a story mode, where a bunch of toads are working to rebuild Princess Peach's castle after a creepy dog here with a Wii Fit balance board around his neck hits a button and rock rocket wipes the castle away from existence. Look, you know what? I'm not complaining here. Beggars can't be choosers. It's kind of fun. The levels are actually really creatively designed and show the breadth of what you can do in this game. And the TLDR of the whole thing is that in order to fund the rebuilding project, Mario
The TLDR need the coins.
has to complete levels and gather coins, purchasing upgrades until the castle is standing proud once again. Well, the story might be dismissed by some as a simple tutorial leading up to the real game of playing the homebrew Mario levels of online strangers and raging out as you continually lose against bosses levels from Game Grumps. The story mode is interesting to me for one major reason. It introduces us to the strangest Mario character ever, the religious eraser.
Does some doubt still linger about the path you have chosen? Let me erase the stain of doubt from your mind. Let us cleanse ourselves.
Okay, so the story mode's interesting for two reasons. One, the very creepy, very disturbing religious eraser that probably merits his own theory.
The secret religions in Mario. There's a secret lore in it? Interesting. Interesting.
On another day, and two, by giving us a complete tally of exactly how much money it takes to construct Peach's castle as measured in coins, which means if we compare that building cost in coins to the real-world building cost of a similar-sized castle or similar building supplies, it could finally reveal the answer to the secret of the Mushroom Kingdom's economy. Just how much is one gold coin in Mario actually worth? And what is the value of Peach's castle? All of those answers and more are what I plan to find today. Now, calculating the cost of Peach's castle in Mushroom Kingdom currency is actually shockingly easy. All you gotta do is tally up the coin costs of all the individual upgrades, because we see it built from foundation up through roof, including little amenities like cannons and stained glass. If you add up all those various costs throughout Mario Maker 2's storyline, Peach's 100% completed castle costs a total of 14,100 coins. Seems pretty affordable, but then again, these are gold coins that we're talking about, and more often than not, these hunks of precious metal are at least the size of Mario's oversized bubblehead, so each one could be their own small fortune for all we know. So, with the number of coins in tow, it's time to translate those castle costs into real-world costs. And it's here where things start to get a little bit more complicated. How do you price out a fictional building? Admittedly, we've done it once before on this channel with the Luigi's Mansion episode, but in that game, Luigi sees every single room. Heck, forget seeing every single room. He is humping every single chair in every single room looking for a few extra bucks. The castle in
Alright, let's just keep this PG, alright? Let's be family friendly, let's be welcoming, let's be inclusive, alright? So, yay? Sorry.
Mario Maker 2, however, is a completely different situation. Sure, it was built for Princess Peach, thereby making it Peach's castle in one sense, but this isn't the Peach's castle that we've seen throughout the rest of the franchise. If its relatively small size wasn't clue enough, notice that we build a foundation, but we leave no room for a basement. This in turn clearly eliminates the design for Peach's castle from Super Mario 64, where the basement had, without exaggeration, the best levels in that game. Evidently, Peach is just a princess of many different homes. Your princess is in another castle? Sure, why not?
Literally in another castle.
She apparently has a couple. This one must just be her summer vacation home. Oh wait, that's Isle Delfino. It's just her sub-castle. So how do you price out something that you never actually get to see the details of? Well, you don't. Instead, you fixate on what you do know, and then you build out from there. The easiest place for us to anchor our comparison of Mushroom Kingdom and real-world prices is actually in the finishing touches of the castle. One touch in particular, the colorful stained glass window that completes the whole project. This is a staple of practically all versions of Peach's castle, and considering that stained glass is a fairly standard thing that exists here in the real world, we can actually start getting some price estimates and then apply that to the rest of the Princess Peach building cost.
It's just an estimate, so yeah.
Now,
take it with a grain of salt, especially if this is just a video game, so please don't take it too seriously. You know, it's a fictional world, it's a video game, so take it with a grain of salt.
stained glass prices in the real world vary a lot based on the different techniques that are being used, the quality of the glass, the number of pieces required for the final design, with some finished stained glass pieces containing hundreds or even sometimes thousands of small geometric pieces of glass. As such, costs are gonna change a lot, ranging anywhere from $150 to $500 per square foot of window space. Surprisingly though, our image of Princess Peach is actually a fairly simple design. It contains less than 100 pieces in total, and even then those pieces are large, and they're mostly basic, simple shapes that wouldn't require a lot of precision cutting to execute. As such, I'm actually gonna price this window on the lower end of the cost spectrum here, about $200 per square foot, which means that the question now is, how big is the window? For
Using Mario as a ruler, confirm its pixel measurements. I definitely get it's around that. Just a mere guess.
it's our always faithful pixel measurements to the rescue. Now,
See?
based on the dimensions of this lovely stained glass window relative to Mario's height as he enters the castle, which we know canonically to be 5 foot 1 inch tall, the pixel window area is around 11.7 square feet. Now,
Around there.
admittedly, I saw that number and it felt a bit small, but when you actually compare the size of this castle and its window relative to the size of other castles and other windows that we see in other parts of the Mario franchise, this window is actually significantly smaller than most other appearances of that stained glass. In Super Mario 64, it is like 3 times the height of Mario, so that thing is massive, that castle is massive, but again, we're not talking about that castle, we're talking about Mario Maker 2's castle, and when you see it relative to the size of Toad's and Mario and Princess Peach as they stand in and around the castle, the size and shape of that window actually are believably that size, just kind of a relatively small window. So with a grand total size of 11.7 square feet and a relatively simple design as far as stained glass windows are concerned, the total cost of that window in real life, were you to produce it, would be about $2,340. If you include installation costs, that's gonna run you about an average of $500. We get ourselves a final total stained glass window cost of $2,840. Since
Around
purchasing
that
the stained glass for
price.
Peach's castle in Mario Maker 2 costs 2,000 coins, we're actually pretty close to having a 1-to-1 ratio of dollars to coins. To be exact, $2,840 being the equivalent of 2,000 coins means that one Mushroom Kingdom gold coin is worth $1.42. That is it, $1.42. You're lucky to get a McDonald's hamburger for that. It seems unbelievably low, but believe it or not, this incredibly low estimate is actually consistent with what we see across the greater Mario franchise.
Really?
In his video calculating the richest video game characters of all time, my fellow game theorist Austin used a similar method, where he priced out a pair of musical symbols that are available for purchase in Super Mario RPG, and he found that the coin was only a few cents higher.
In RPG, symbols cost 42 coins, making each coin worth about $1.66.
That's not that far off, and it's confirmed across multiple games using multiple real-world items. So it's a pretty good standard measurement. But still, it seems unbelievable, right? We are talking about giant discs of gold floating in midair. It has gotta be worth more than just $1 and change, isn't it? Again, that's what my MatPat Tingle was telling me, but then I thought about
spider
it.
tingle.
It started to make a bit
The spider tingle, Peter tingle. Peter tingle. I remember the spider sense, the Peter tingle.
more sense. For us, gold is super valuable because it's super rare as a metal's concerned. But in the Mushroom Kingdom, all you need to do is walk down any random forest path and you're already finding yourself a couple hundred. The biggest challenge in Mario is finding a pocket big enough to shove them all into, or maybe a belt that's strong enough to hold up your gold-filled pants. And that, my friends, is why the Mario Brothers always make sure to wear overalls. Do you feel that? That's the feeling of so many mysteries being solved in one given episode. Anyway, using that coin to dollar ratio, we can finally find the cost of Princess Peach's castle in Mario Maker. To 100% complete the game, it'll take 14,100 Mushroom Kingdom coins, meaning that we're gonna get ourselves to the astonishing grand total of $20,022. According to HomeAdvisor.com, it costs on average about $150 per square foot to build your home, meaning that in the real world, if you had a budget of only $20,022 and were building your home in the cheapest possible building materials legally allowed, you'd only have enough to pay for 150 square foot of dwelling space. At most. That's not a castle. Heck, it's too small to even be an apartment. The smallest of trailer homes is between 600 and 1,300 square feet. The so-called so-called tiny homes are 400 to 1,000 square feet. And those things even have tiny in the name. For crying out loud, there's even been a recent housing movement where people are living out of repurposed shipping containers. You know, the ones that they use to cart things around on giant ocean liners. Yeah, those are even bigger than the square footage that this money allows. Those are about 350 square feet. A shipping container is bigger than the amount that she's spending on this castle in the Mushroom Kingdom. No joke, at 150 square feet, you're living in less space than 4 ping pong tables put together. It is literally the size of a small college dorm room. And again, that is based on the cheapest possible building materials that are legally allowed, building in the states that have the cheapest possible labor allowed. But obviously, Princess Peach's Mario Maker 2 castle is larger than 150 square feet. I mean, it's obviously much smaller than her normal castle, but it's certainly not 4 ping pong tables strapped together levels of small. So how could you make that small amount of money be enough to build something as large as what we're seeing happening in Mario Maker here? Well, my friends, in order to do that, we have to get cheaper.
Cheaper than my 11-year-old shoe?
Cheaper! Wow, he's using meta. Gosh. Like, glad that we get to see more individuals who are part of the team for the game Theorists. I'm a huge fan. Cheaper.
Cheaper!
Cheaper than my landlord?
Cheaper.
Cheaper!
Cheaper than you when I ask for more production equipment?
Oh! Ouch! Burn! But still cheaper.
Cheaper! And you don't need those supplies.
Cheaper than my dad?
Cheaper than that still! My friends, if you want to make a castle that large using that small amount of money, we're gonna have to do something extreme. We're gonna have to get Toadette cheap. You see, in the game, the construction project is being managed by Toadette, the chief. She just sucks at her job. First, she can't manage budgets or schedules, resulting in the employees not having enough equipment on site to do the work that they need to do. According to Green Toad, the chief took my cloud because she said she needed it for something or other. And according to Red Toad, we went over budget and ran out of stone for the stairs. But it's one thing to be bad with money and supplies, it's another thing entirely to be negligent with your crew. The Purple Toad gets completely lost due to scheduling errors by Toadette. And as Blue Toad says, I blame the chief personally. When something goes wrong, it's usually management's fault. Worse though is when the entire crew gets kidnapped and Toadette barely notices, saying, was there a lazy toad convention in the bathroom? Going so far that her employees are scared that she's going to dock their pay. Let me reiterate that last point. The employees working on Princess Peach's castle here in Mario Maker 2 are scared that their pay will be docked by Toadette because they were kidnapped and held prisoner against their will. So if you're underfunded to the point of not having basic building supplies but you still have a castle you need to deliver, what do you do? Basically, you're left with 3 options. A, finding materials that are even cheaper than what's used by slumlords. B, underpaying your workers. Or C, all of the above. And you can't spell chief without a big old capital C. Let's face it, the chief is all about style over substance. My vision is springing to life right before my eyes, she proclaims midway through the project. Oh yeah, Toadette, is your vision spending a few grand on unimportant details like a stained glass window, but then cutting costs on the stuff that really matters, like say, I don't know, the foundation for the entire building?
Oh my god, the foundation is only 100 coins? 100 coins. It costs... What?
Where you barely spent 100 coins on it? Without a substantial foundation, it means the heavy stones that are laid on the castle walls are gonna deform the ground underneath, making the walls collapse into themselves in a short amount of time. The first version of this castle was lost when a dog accidentally pressed a reset button, but this version of the castle is simply gonna collapse under its own weight because Toadette sucks at blueprints. Forget the Leaning Tower of Pisa, we're gonna get ourselves the Leaning Castle of Peach. Okay, that was a terrible joke, but it wasn't as bad as Toadette's management skills. They only are—
Ooh, burn! Ah!
are able to get away with their gross underfunding because Mario is providing free labor and free goods that he's finding in the levels. He's constantly running errands to make up for the errors in Toadette's planning and corner cutting. When you don't even have the basic building materials on hand and have to rely instead on a friendly Italian plumber providing free labor for your project, you may want to consider that maybe this was your problem to begin with. But can Toadette accept the blame and grow and move on from her mistakes? Ha! No! Toadette only sees one possible failure point in this whole thing, saying, and this is a legitimate quote from a Nintendo game, "I blame the union." Mario Maker 2, now with 100% more anti-worker union propaganda. Jeez! If you're looking for an explanation as to why things are going so poorly on the job site, this ain't it, Chief. In short, and let me make this perfectly clear, in Mario Maker 2, Peach's wealth is literally built upon the exploitation of underpaid and under-respected Toad workers. Even Toadette's underlings know it's time for a
I don't care if you come for your family. Finish that castle now.
change in leadership. As Red Toad himself observes, that chief, she's brilliant, but troubled. Troubled? Yeah, that is the word that I want to use to describe my boss and the person in charge of my very limited funding. These poor toads are being underpaid to the point where they're basically slave labor. As Green Toad himself says, when I make chief one day, things are gonna be different for the little guy. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, Mario Maker 2, the Mario game with deep lore about labor battles in the
We want ego age now. Where's the fair treatment?
Mushroom Kingdom. On one side, we have Toadette, brilliant but troubled. On the other side, an army of abused toads forced to build Peach's castle yet again. A literal piece of garbage that is set to collapse at any minute, built on their underpaid backs. Yet another example of the little guy getting taken advantage of while the rich just get richer. Forget building a castle, the only thing you're building in the story mode of Mario Maker 2 is a literal garbage fire. But hey, do you want to save money to afford your own tiny home? Or heck, dream big, your own crappy castle just like Princess Peach? Well, take it from someone who just finished a home improvement job with an irresponsible contractor just like Toadette, you're gonna want to hold on to every penny you can. Which is why today's video is brought to you by Honey, the easiest way to save money while you're shopping online. Honestly, before I found out about Honey, seeing the promo code box when I was ready to check out of an online purchase just stressed me out. It was one of those things where I'm like, should I be typing something in here? Is there a code that exists that I should know about? Here, let me look around for an egregious amount of time, or let me just click buy and feel completely irresponsible that I'm just throwing my money away. But now, thanks to Honey, all that anxiety is gone. Honey is a free tool that connects to your computer's browser and, as you're shopping online, scans the internet for coupon codes and other discounts. Then, like magic, it automatically applies the best ones to your cart when you're checking out. It works on over 20,000 websites, including some of the biggies like Amazon, Best Buy, and Pizza Hut. Today's episode was all about big numbers, so here's a couple more. Not only did Honey test over 1 billion promo codes last year, 1 billion with a B, it actually applied 185,067,086 working codes onto people's orders. That is 185 million times that people were about to overpay for something that they were buying online that Honey ultimately saved them money on. That is hundreds of thousands of dollars saved for customers just like you and me. And specifically for me, most recently, Honey saved me $72 on production equipment, and then another $34 on a new child car seat for our little potato man who just turned 1 year old. It's really exciting times here over at Shape Hatchery. Anyway,
That
it's all saved with just a simple click. And now you too can start saving just like I am, and just like the 10 million other people who are saving with Honey. All you need to do is install it using the link joinhoney.com/MatPat, M-A-T-P-A-T. You know where it is, say it with me, top line of the description. Woo, big surprise. It only takes 2 clicks to install, and then from there, it works for practically anything you buy online. It's free to use, easy to install, so never again worry about leaving that promo code box blank. Honey has got you covered. Get it for free at joinhoney.com/MatPat. Now, if you'll excuse me, I asked you all on the community tab to choose the video you most wanted to see before the end of the month, and surprise, surprise, you all chose Five Nights at Freddy's. Excuse me while I go to count some animatronic toes. I'll see you all next week.
Oh my god, FNAF again. Oh gosh. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you do like this video, please consider to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you fancy sharing fast down below. Do remember to follow my channel as well. And I'll see you next time. But hey, that's just a theory, a game theory. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much. This video that I reacted to came from the YouTube channel The Game Theorists. I'm a huge fan of their work and hope that you will watch more of their videos and show support for them. Their videos are amazing and yeah, thank you. I'm a huge fan. And once again, if you do like my videos, please consider to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything. Just remember to follow my channel as well. Thank you so much for the support and I appreciate it. Thank you. I'm super thankful and grateful for your support. Thank you so much. And I'll see you next time. Yeah. Wait, should be downwards. Should be downwards inside. No, it's a bit.